The great hall of the Galactic Council fell silent as the emergency alarm stopped ringing. Hundreds of alien beings from dozens of worlds sat in their floating seats, all looking worried. The holographic display in the center showed burning planets and destroyed space stations. Admiral Zex Thara, a tall blue creature with 4 arms, stood up. Her voice was angry. The Zephyrian Empire has attacked 12 colonies in the Outer Rim. They are killing millions of innocent people. Our fleets cannot stop them. The other council members started talking loudly. Some were scared. Others were angry. All of them knew that the Zephyrians were too strong. The Empire had been growing for 1,000 years. They had the biggest ships and the strongest weapons in the galaxy. "We need more ships," said General Corax, a creature that looked like a giant spider. "We need more soldiers." "We don't have enough," Admiral Zexthera replied. "The Zephyrians have been planning this for decades. They are winning every battle." In the back of the hall, an old alien slowly stood up. He was small and thin, with gray skin that looked like stone. His name was Vorthak, and he was one of the last keepers. The keepers were very old and very wise. They remembered things from long ago that others had forgotten. "There is another way," Vorthak said. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard him. The hall became silent again. "Keeper Vorthak," said the council leader, a floating, jellyfish-like creature. "What do you mean?" Vorthak walked slowly to the center of the hall. In his hands he carried a crystal box that glowed with soft light. The box was very old. Nobody remembered how old. "This contains the prophecies of the precursors," Vorthak said. "The race that lived before all of us. They left us warnings and promises before they disappeared 50,000 years ago." Many council members looked annoyed. They did not believe in old stories and prophecies. They believed in ships and weapons and science. "Keeper," Admiral Zexithera said, "we don't have time for ancient myths. People are dying right now." But Vorthak opened the crystal box anyway. Light came out of it and strange symbols appeared in the air. The symbols were in the old precursor language. Only the keepers could read them. Vorthak read the symbols out loud. His voice became stronger as he spoke. "When the children of wars walk among the stars, when the young bipeds of the third world of Sol speak for the innocent, no force in the galaxy shall stand against their will." "What does that mean?" asked General Corax. "It means the humans," Vorthak said. "The bipeds of Sol 3 Earth." The hall exploded with noise. Everyone started talking at once. Most of them were laughing or angry. "Humans?" Admiral Zexithara almost shouted. "You want us to ask for help from humans? They just learned how to travel between stars 50 years ago. They are primitives. They fight with metal bullets and chemical explosives. They are weak," added General Corax. "They have no natural armor, no claws, no poison. They can barely survive on their own world." But Vorthak was not finished reading. He pointed to more symbols. "The prophecy says more. It warns us about their nature. They are children of a world where everything tries to kill everything else. They learn to fight before they learn to speak. War is in their blood like water." "That makes them sound dangerous, not helpful," said a council member. "Dangerous to enemies," Vorthak replied. "The prophecy is clear. When humans fight to protect others, they become something else, something that cannot be stopped." The council leader's tentacles moved nervously. "Even if this prophecy is true, we would need to ask Earth for help. They might say no. Why would they risk their lives for people they don't know?" Vorthak smiled for the first time anyone could remember, because that is what they do. The precursors studied them for thousands of years before humans even knew about space. They saw how humans fight when they see innocent people in danger. They don't think about winning or losing. They only think about protecting. "This is madness," Admiral Zexthera said. "You want to send a message to a primitive world asking for one of their people to fight against the strongest empire in the galaxy? It's suicide." "Not people," Vorthak corrected. "Person, one human. That is what the prophecy says. One human will be enough." The hall became quiet again. Everyone stared at the old keeper. The idea seemed crazy. How could one human make a difference when thousands of trained alien warriors could not? "I will not be part of this," Admiral Zexithera said. She started to leave. "Wait," said the council leader. "Keeper Vorthak, show us the rest of the prophecy." Vorthak touched the crystal and more symbols appeared. These ones glowed red like warning signs. The precursors left this warning too. When humans fight, they do not follow the rules that others follow. They will do things that seem impossible. They will use tactics that seem wrong. They will win battles they should lose. But there is a price, and what price? Asked General Corax. They will change how everyone else fights forever. Once you see how humans make war, you cannot forget it. The galaxy will never be the same. The council members looked at each other. Many of them were scared now, but not of the Zephyrians. They were scared of what they might learn from the humans. The council leader's voice was slow and careful. Are you sure about this prophecy, Keeper? I have studied it my whole life, Forthax said. My father studied it, and his father before him. For 10,000 years my family has waited for this day, the day when humans would walk among the stars and the galaxy would need their help. Admiral Zex Thara stopped walking away. She turned around. If we do this insane thing, how do we choose which human to ask for? We don't choose, Forthax said. We ask Earth to send whoever volunteers. The prophecy says the right human will come forward when needed. The voting was close. Half the council thought it was a waste of time. The other half was desperate enough to try anything. In the end, fear of the Zephyrians won. The message was sent to Earth that same day. It was simple. The galaxy needs one human volunteer to help fight against an empire that is destroying innocent worlds. The volunteer will face almost certain death. Who will come? The answer came back in less than 6 hours. Not just one volunteer, but thousands. Humans all over Earth wanted to help people they had never met on worlds they had never seen. From all the volunteers, one name stood out. Captain Sarah Chen, age 32, veteran of the Martian colonial wars. Her record showed she had saved more lives than any other human soldier. She had also won battles that should have been impossible to win. As Captain Chen's ship jumped through space toward the war zone, Vorthak sat alone in his chamber. He was reading the parts of the prophecy he had not shared with the Council, the parts that talked about humanity's protective fury and what happened when humans decided that some things were worth any price. He hoped the galaxy was ready for what was coming. He feared it was not. Captain Sarah Chen stepped off the transport ship and looked around Firebase Omega-7. The military base was built into the side of a mountain on the planet. Kepler 442b, everything, was gray metal and flashing warning lights. Alien soldiers moved around carrying weapons and supplies. Chen was not very tall, and she looked small next to the alien warriors. Some of them were twice her size. Others had thick armor that grew from their skin. A few had extra arms or legs. All of them stopped what they were doing to stare at her. A massive insect-like creature walked toward her. It stood on 6 legs and had 4 arms. Its head looked like a praying mantis, but much bigger. Chen could see her reflection in its black eyes. I am General Thrix of the Mantari, the creature said. Its voice sounded like clicking and buzzing. You are the human? Captain Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Force, she replied. She did not salute. She had learned that different alien species had different ways of showing respect. General Thrix looked her up and down. This is what the Keepers sent us? One small soft creature with no natural weapons. Other alien soldiers gathered around them. Chen heard them talking in different languages, but she could guess what they were saying. They thought she was a joke. The Council said you have military experience, General Thrix continued. What kind of wars do humans fight? All kinds, Chen said simply. A blue-skinned alien with 4 arms laughed. Look at her. No claws, no armor, no poison. What can she possibly do that we cannot do better? Chen smiled. It was not a friendly smile. You want to find out? Before anyone could answer, alarms started ringing. Red lights flashed all over the base. A voice spoke over the communication system in the alien trade language. Zephyrian attack incoming. All units to defensive positions. This is not a drill. The alien soldiers ran to their posts. They moved fast and organized like they had done this many times before. Chen followed General Thrix to the command center. The command center was full of screens showing the area around the base. Chen could see Zephyrian ships landing in the valley below. Dark shapes were moving through the forest toward them. How many? General Thrix asked. At least 3,000, said a lizard-like alien at one of the screens. They have heavy weapons and battle mechs. We have 800 defenders, General Thrix said. Not good odds. Chen studied the screens. She saw how the Zephyrians were moving. They were coming straight toward the base in organized groups. It was a standard military attack. They always attack like this? She asked. Yes, General Thrix replied. The Zephyrians are honorable warriors. They believe in direct confrontation. Honorable, Chen repeated. She was still smiling. The attack began an hour after sunset. Energy weapons lit up the dark forest like deadly fireworks. The Zephyrians advanced slowly but steadily. They were winning. Chen grabbed a weapon from the armory. It was an energy rifle made for aliens, so it was too big for her hands. She made it work anyway. "Where are you going?" General Thrix demanded as Chen headed for the door. "Outside," she said. "You'll be killed instantly. Our defensive line is barely holding." "Your defensive line is in the wrong place," Chen said. "You're fighting their kind of battle." Before General Thrix could stop her, Chen was gone. Outside, the night was full of death. Energy beams cut through the air. Explosions shook the ground. Chen could hear aliens screaming in pain and fear. She did not run toward the fighting. Instead, she ran along the side of the mountain, staying in the shadows. The other defenders thought she was running away. Chen found what she was looking for. A group of Zephyrian soldiers was setting up a big weapon on a hill. Once they finished, they would be able to destroy the main gate of the base. The Zephyrians were large, gray creatures with thick skin and red eyes. They were strong and tough, bred for war. They had been winning battles for 1,000 years. Chen watched them for a few minutes. She counted 12 soldiers. They were focused on their work and not watching for enemies. Why would they? Their own forces were between them and the base. She attacked from behind. The first Zephyrian never knew what hit him. Chen moved like water, always in motion, never where the enemy expected her to be. She used their own size against them, staying low and moving fast. But the strangest thing was the sound she made. The aliens listening in the command center heard something they had never heard before. Chen was laughing, not the laugh of someone who was crazy or scared. It was the laugh of someone who was exactly where they wanted to be. Someone who understood this chaos better than anyone else. In 10 minutes, all 12 Zephyrians were dead. Chen had their big weapon pointed back at their own forces. "Command," she said into her radio. "This is Chen. I have a present for you." She fired the weapon into the largest group of attacking Zephyrians. The explosion was huge. Dozens of enemy soldiers were destroyed instantly. But Chen was not done. She moved to another position and attacked a different group. Then another. She was everywhere and nowhere, hitting the enemy where they did not expect it. The Zephyrians started to panic. They could not understand what was happening. One small creature was destroying their careful attack plan. They began shooting at shadows and fighting each other. General Thrix watched from the command center. All the other alien officers were silent. They were seeing something they had never seen before. "She fights like the darkness itself," whispered one of them. "No," General Thrix said slowly. "She fights like something that was born in the darkness." By morning, the Zephyrian attack was broken. More than half their forces were dead or running away. Firebase Omega-7 had not lost a single defender. Chen walked back into the command center as the sun came up. Her clothes were torn and she had cuts on her face, but she was still smiling. "That was fun," she said. General Thrix stared at her. "You destroyed an entire Zephyrian assault force. By yourself." "I had help," Chen said. "They helped by being predictable." "Predictable?" Chen sat down in a chair that was too big for her. "They fight with honor and rules and organization. That makes them easy to beat." "Those are good things," said the blue-skinned alien who had laughed at her earlier. He was not laughing now. "Not in war," Chen replied. "In war, you do whatever it takes to win. You lie, you cheat, you attack from behind. You make the enemy afraid of their own shadow." The alien officers looked at each other. This was not how they understood fighting. "But what about honor?" General Thrix asked. Chen's smile disappeared. When she spoke again, her voice was cold and hard. "Honor is for after the war. When innocent people are dying, honor is a luxury nobody can afford." She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the base was safe. The soldiers were alive. The mission had succeeded. "The Zephyrians will be back," she said. "Next time, they'll be ready for me. So we need to be ready for them." "What do you mean?" General Thrix asked. Chen turned around. The smile was back, but now it looked dangerous. "I mean, it's time you all learned how humans really fight." Word about the humans spread through the galaxy like fire. Both sides heard the same story with different feelings. The Alliance forces were hopeful. The Zephyrian Empire was angry and confused. Chen spent the next weeks training mixed groups of alien soldiers. What she taught them made many of them uncomfortable. General Thrix watched the training sessions with growing worry. "Today we learn about lying," Chen announced to a group of 50 alien warriors. They came from 7 different species. All of them looked shocked. Lying is wrong, said a crystal being from the court systems. Honorable warriors tell the truth. Honorable warriors lose battles, Chen replied. Dead warriors don't protect anyone. She pointed to a map of the local area. The Zephyrians are building a supply base here. How would you attack it? The aliens discussed their plan. It was straightforward and logical. Direct assault with maximum force, that will work, Chen said. You'll lose half your people, but you'll win eventually. She drew new lines on the map. Here's what we're going to do instead. We send a small force to attack their communications tower. When they send reinforcements to protect it, we attack the real target from the opposite direction. But the communications tower is not important, pointed out a reptilian soldier. Exactly, Chen smiled. That's the point. We make them think it's important. We lie to them. How? Chen's smile got wider. We capture one of their scouts. We let him escape with false information about a secret weapon hidden in the communications tower. When he reports back, they'll have to investigate. The alien soldiers looked at each other uncomfortably. This was not how their people fought wars, but they tried it anyway. The plan worked perfectly. The Zephyrians lost their supply base and never understood why. News of the victory reached the Zephyrian High Command. Emperor Zixthal read the reports with growing fury. His forces were losing battles they should easily win. How is this possible? He demanded. We have superior numbers and weapons. The human, my lord, said General Krextar, his military advisor. She fights without honor. She uses deception and cowardice. One human cannot defeat the Empire, the Emperor snarled. It is not just one human anymore, General Krextar replied carefully. She is teaching the other species her methods. They are learning to fight like her. This was true. Across the Warzone, alien forces were adopting human tactics. They stopped fighting properly and started fighting to win. The results were dramatic. A Mantari strike team convinced an entire Zephyrian battalion to surrender by making them think they were surrounded by thousands of enemies. In reality, there were only 50 attackers using sound projectors and holographic images. A group of crystal beings destroyed a Zephyrian flagship by pretending to be peaceful traders. They delivered a cargo container full of explosives right to the ship's engine room. The proudest warrior species in the galaxy were learning to be sneaky, dishonest, and ruthless. They were winning. Chen's most ambitious plan came 3 months after her arrival. The Zephyrians were advancing on the Crystal Canyons, a strategic location that controlled 3 major trade routes. If they captured it, they could cut off supplies to dozens of Alliance worlds. We can't stop them, General Thrix said during the command meeting. They have 200 ships and 50,000 soldiers. We have 30 ships and 8,000 soldiers. Numbers don't matter, Chen said. She was studying star charts and battle reports. What matters is making them fight our kind of battle instead of theirs. What do you mean? Chen pointed to the star charts. The Zephyrians are coming through the Nebula Pass. It's the only safe route through the asteroid field. They have to travel single file. Yes, but we can't attack them there. The passage is too narrow for a fleet battle. Who said anything about a fleet battle? Chen asked. Her plan was insane. She would take a small stealth ship and allow herself to be captured by the Zephyrians. While in their custody, she would plant false information about Alliance weaknesses. The Zephyrians would change their attack plan based on this information, which would lead them into a trap. This is suicide, General Thrix protested. They will torture you for information. Let them try, Chen said. I've been tortured before. The trick is to tell them exactly what you want them to know, while making them think they're forcing it out of you. And if the plan fails, Chen shrugged, then I'll improvise. 3 days later, Chen's ship was accidentally caught by a Zephyrian patrol. The aliens were delighted to capture the famous human warrior. They brought her to their flagship for interrogation. Emperor Zixthal himself came to see her. Chen was chained in the ship's detention center, looking small and helpless. So, the Emperor said, you are the human who thinks she can defeat my empire? Chen looked up at him. Even chained, she did not look afraid. I don't think I can defeat your empire, she said. I know I can, the Emperor laughed. You are brave, I will give you that. But bravery means nothing when you are my prisoner. Prisoner? Chen smiled. I'm not your prisoner. I'm exactly where I want to be. For the next 2 days, the Zephyrians tried to break her. They use pain machines and truth drugs and psychological pressure. Chen told them exactly what she wanted them to know. She revealed that the Alliance fleet was hiding in the Sigma Nebula, waiting to ambush the Zephyrian forces as they exited the Crystal Canyons. She gave them detailed ship positions and weapon configurations. She even drew them a map. The information was too valuable to ignore. The Zephyrians changed their attack plan. Instead of going through the Crystal Canyons, they would circle around and attack the Alliance fleet from behind. On the third night, Chen escaped. She used a hairpin to pick her locks, disabled 2 guards with her bare hands, and stole a fighter ship from the main hangar. The whole thing took 12 minutes. As she flew away, she activated a beacon she had hidden on the flagship. The signal told the Alliance fleet exactly where every Zephyrian ship was located. The Emperor had taken his entire fleet to attack the hidden Alliance forces in the Sigma Nebula. But there were no Alliance forces there. It was empty space. While the Zephyrians searched for an enemy that did not exist, the real Alliance fleet attacked their undefended supply lines and captured the Crystal Canyons without firing a shot. When Emperor Zixthul realized he had been tricked, his rage was terrible to see. He had lost the most important strategic position in the sector because of lies told by one small human. "Find her," he screamed at his generals. "I want that human found and brought to me." But Chen was already gone, planning her next impossible victory. Back at Firebase Omega-7, the alien commanders gathered to discuss what they had learned. The victories were coming faster now, but many of them felt uncomfortable about the methods they were using. "We are becoming like her," said one of the crystal beings. "We lie to our enemies. We attack without warning. We ignore the rules of honorable combat." "The rules of honorable combat," General Thrix replied slowly, "are written by species that never had to fight for their survival every day for millions of years." He looked at the battle reports from across the war zone. Everywhere, Alliance forces were winning by using human tactics. They were learning to think like predators instead of warriors. "The human is changing us," he said. "The question is, will we still be ourselves when this war is over?" Nobody had an answer to that question, but they kept fighting Chen's way because it worked. And somewhere in space, Chen was already planning something that would make everything they had done so far look simple. The war changed in ways nobody expected. Across the galaxy, species that had fought with honor for thousands of years started adopting human methods. The Zephyrian Empire, which had never lost a war, began losing battles every day. Chen watched the reports coming in from different star systems. Alliance forces were using psychological warfare, false retreats and surprise attacks. They were winning, but she could see the cost in their eyes. The alien soldiers looked different now, harder, more suspicious. "We've taken the Vega system," General Thrix reported during their daily briefing. The Mentari forces convinced the Zephyrian garrison that their own fleet was going to abandon them. Half the garrison surrendered without fighting. "Good," Chen said, but she noticed that General Thrix did not sound happy about the victory. "There's something else," he continued. "Emperor Zixthul is coming." The command center became very quiet. Everyone knew about the Emperor. He was the strongest warrior in Zephyrian history. He had personally conquered 40 star systems. His flagship was the size of a small moon. "How long?" Chen asked. 3 weeks. "He's bringing the Imperial fleet, 500 ships and the Emperor's personal guard." Chen studied the tactical displays. The numbers were not good. Even with all their victories, the Alliance could only gather 200 ships to meet them. "Where will they attack?" she asked. "Proxima Station," General Thrix replied. "If they take it, they can cut our supply lines and trap our main fleet." Proxima Station was a massive space station built into an asteroid. It protected the main trade route between the Alliance core worlds and the outer colonies. Without it, the war would be lost. "I need a ship," Chen said. "What kind of ship?" "Something fast. Something expendable." General Thrix's compound eyes focused on her. "What are you planning?" Chen smiled, but it was not her usual confident smile. This one looked tired and sad. "Something stupid." 2 weeks later, every ship in the sector gathered at Proxima Station. The Alliance fleet took defensive positions around the massive station. Everyone knew this would be the final battle. Chen sat alone in a small fighter ship on the edge of the formation. The ship was old and had been patched many times. It was not built for the kind of mission she had planned. "Human," came a voice over the radio. It was General Thrix. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do," Chen replied. That's what humans do. The Zephyrian Imperial fleet appeared like a metal storm, 500 ships in perfect formation, with the Emperor's flagship leading them. Each ship was larger and more powerful than anything the Alliance had. Emperor Zixthal's voice broadcast across all frequencies. Alliance forces, you have fought well. But this ends now. Surrender, and I will allow your people to live as slaves. Fight, and I will destroy every world that supported you. The Alliance Fleet Commander, Admiral Thexara, responded, We will not surrender. We will not bow to tyrants. Then you will die with honor, the Emperor replied. Attack! The space battle began. Energy weapons lit up the darkness like angry stars. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes. The fighting was desperate and violent. Chen waited. She watched the battle unfold exactly as she had predicted. The Zephyrians were winning through sheer force. Their ships were too strong and their numbers too great. Then she saw her chance. The Emperor's flagship had moved forward to lead the assault. It was surrounded by smaller ships, but there was a gap in their formation. A gap just big enough for one small fighter. Chen to all ships, she said over the radio. I'm going in. Negative. Admiral Thexara replied. Return to formation. But Chen was already moving. Her fighter shot forward like a bullet, weaving between the massive warships. Enemy fire filled the space around her, but she flew like someone who had been born in the void. The aliens watching her fly realized something. Chen was not trying to escape or find safety. She was heading straight for the Emperor's flagship. She was going to ram it. She's going to sacrifice herself, whispered someone over the radio. But that was not what Chen was planning. As she got closer to the flagship, she did something unexpected. She started broadcasting on the Emperor's personal frequency. Emperor Zixthal, she said. Her voice was calm and clear. I challenge you to single combat. The entire battle paused. Both fleets stopped shooting. Everyone listened. Single combat? The Emperor's voice came back, confused and angry. You dare challenge me? I dare, Chen replied. According to Zephyrian law, any warrior can challenge a leader to personal combat. If I win, your fleet withdraws. If you win, the Alliance surrenders. It was a desperate gamble. Chen knew that the Emperor's pride would not let him refuse a direct challenge, especially from the human who had been embarrassing his forces for months. You think you can defeat me in combat, little human? The Emperor laughed. I am the greatest warrior in the galaxy. Prove it, Chen said simply. The Emperor's flagship opened its hangar bay. Chen flew her fighter inside and landed. She stepped out wearing only basic combat armor and carrying 2 human weapons, a knife and a pistol that fired metal bullets. Emperor Zixthal was waiting for her in the ship's main cargo bay. He was huge, even for a Zephyrian. His gray skin was covered with scars from 1,000 battles. In his forehands, he carried energy weapons that could destroy a tank. You are smaller than I expected, he said, looking down at her. You're exactly what I expected, Chen replied. The fight began. The Emperor was faster and stronger than any human could be. His weapons could kill her with one shot. But Chen fought like something wild and desperate. She did not fight fair. She used the cargo containers as cover. She threw metal debris at his eyes. When her pistol ran out of bullets, she used it as a club. When her knife broke, she picked up a piece of the blade and kept fighting. But the real battle was not physical. Chen talked while they fought. She told the Emperor about every battle his forces had lost. She described how his honorable warriors had been tricked and defeated by lies and deception. Your empire is built on fear, she said as she dodged another energy blast. But fear only works on people who have something to lose. I will destroy your world, the Emperor roared. I will burn Earth to ashes. Earth? Chen laughed as she rolled behind a container. Earth is just one planet. Humans don't fight for Earth, we fight for an idea. What idea? Chen came out from behind the container. She was bleeding and exhausted, but she was still moving. The idea that nobody should have to bow to bullies like you. She threw the broken knife at his face. While he blocked it, she jumped onto his back and wrapped her arms around his neck. You can kill me, she whispered in his ear. But there are billions more humans where I came from. And every one of them will fight you until their last breath. Something in her voice made the Emperor stop fighting. For the first time in his life, he felt something he had never felt before. Fear. Not fear of death. Fear of an enemy that could not be defeated because they fought for something bigger than themselves. Chen felt him hesitate. In that moment, she did the last thing anyone expected. She let go of him and stepped back. I don't need to kill you, she said. You're already dead. You just don't know it yet. The Emperor stared at her. What do you mean? Your empire is finished, Chen said. Not because I beat you in a fight. Because your own people have seen what happened here. They've seen their greatest warrior afraid of one small human. It was true. The entire battle had been broadcast across the Zephyrian fleet. Thousands of soldiers had watched their emperor hesitate, had heard the fear in his voice. Emperor Zixthal looked around the cargo bay. He could see the faces of his crew watching him. He could see the doubt in their eyes. He had won the physical fight. Chen was wounded and exhausted, but somehow she had won the real battle. Without saying another word, the Emperor walked away. An hour later, the Imperial fleet jumped to hyperspace and disappeared. Chen sat alone in the cargo bay of the empty flagship, bleeding and exhausted. She had saved the Alliance, but she felt no joy in the victory. She thought about the alien soldiers who had learned to fight like humans. She thought about the look in General Thrix's eyes when he talked about their victories. She had won the war. But she wondered what the cost would be when the galaxy learned to think like humanity. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light. Emperor Zixthal was found dead in his private chambers 3 days after the battle at Proxima Station. The official report said he died of a heart attack, but everyone knew the truth. The Emperor had killed himself rather than face the shame of being defeated by a human. With their leader dead, the Zephyrian Empire collapsed. Some systems surrendered immediately. Others fought brief civil wars before joining the Alliance. Within 6 months, the 1,000-year empire was just a memory. Chen sat on the ruins of Firebase Omega-7, where everything had started. The base was being torn down now that the war was over. She watched alien workers take apart the defenses she had helped build. General Thrix found her there. The Mantari general looked older than when they first met. The war had changed him, just like it had changed everyone. The Council wants to honor you, he said, sitting beside her on a broken piece of wall. They want to give you medals and titles. I don't want medals, Chen replied. She was staring at the sunset over the mountains. The Keepers were right about their prophecy. General Thrix continued. One human was enough to win the war. Chen was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was sad. Did we win? Look around you, General. Look at what we've become. General Thrix knew what she meant. The alien species that had fought alongside humans were different now. The Honorable Mantari had learned to use ambush tactics. The peaceful crystal beings had become experts at deception. The proud lizard people now fought without rules or mercy. We had to change to survive, he said. I know, Chen nodded. That's what makes it worse. A shuttle landed nearby. Admiral Zexthara stepped out, along with several other high-ranking Alliance officers. They walked over to where Chen and General Thrix were sitting. Captain Chen, Admiral Zexthara said formally. The Galactic Council has made a decision. Chen stood up slowly. She was tired in a way that sleep could not fix. We are inviting humanity to join the Galactic Council, the Admiral continued. Not as junior members, but as protectors. The galaxy needs guardians who understand what you understand. And what do I understand? Chen asked. How to win, Admiral Zexthara replied. Chen laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think that's what I taught you? How to win. She walked to the edge of the broken wall and looked out over the valley where so many had died. I didn't teach you how to win. I taught you how to become like us, how to be human. Is that bad? Asked General Thrix. Chen was quiet for a moment. Humans have been fighting for so long that we've forgotten how to be anything else. We fight our planet, we fight each other, we fight ourselves. War is in our blood like oxygen. She turned back to face them. You all had something we lost a long time ago. You had honor and rules and the belief that some things are more important than victory. I took that away from you. You saved us, Admiral Zexithara protested. Did I? Chen asked. Or did I just teach you to be afraid in a different way? Before anyone could answer, another ship landed. This one was different from the others. It was smaller and sleeker, with Earth Defense Force markings. A human stepped out. Chen recognized him immediately. Captain Marcus Webb, her old commanding officer from the Martian Wars. "Sarah," he said, walking toward her. "Time to come home." "Marcus?" Chen was surprised. "What are you doing here?" "The Earth government sent me to bring you back. You've been gone for 8 months. People are calling you a hero." Chen looked at the alien officers around her. They were all watching this conversation carefully. "What about them?" she asked. "What about the Council's offer?" Captain Webb handed her a datapad. "Read this." Chen read the official message from Earth. It was short and direct. Humanity was accepting the Council's invitation to join the galactic community. But Earth was also sending military advisors to help train alien forces in human-style warfare. "We're going to teach them all how to fight like us," Chen said quietly. "The galaxy is a dangerous place," Captain Webb replied. "They need to know how to protect themselves." Chen handed the datapad back to him. "No. Sarah, these are orders from the highest levels of government." "I said no." Chen's voice was firm. "I won't teach the galaxy how to be human. They need to learn how to be better than us." She turned to Admiral Zexthara. "I'll accept the Council's offer, but not the way you think. I'll come to the Council worlds, but not as a military advisor. As a reminder." "A reminder of what?" Admiral Zexthara asked. "Of what happens when you forget that the goal isn't to win wars. The goal is to not have wars at all." Captain Webb shook his head. "Sarah, you can't refuse a direct order." Chen smiled for the first time in weeks. "Marcus, I learned something out here. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is refuse to follow orders." She walked over to her personal belongings, which were packed in a small bag. Everything she owned in the galaxy fit in one bag. "I'm going with them," she told Captain Webb, "but I'm not going as Earth's representative, I'm going as myself. The government won't like that. The government can find someone else to teach aliens how to kill each other efficiently. There are plenty of humans who would love that job." General Thrix stepped forward. "Captain Chen, if you come with us, what will you do?" Chen picked up her bag and walked toward the alien shuttle. "I'm going to try to teach you something harder than fighting." "What's that?" "How to forgive yourselves for what you had to become." As the shuttle lifted off, Chen looked down at the planet where she had changed the course of galactic history. The mountains looked peaceful in the fading light. It was hard to believe that so much death and change had happened here. "Do you regret it?" General Thrix asked as they flew toward space. Chen was quiet for a long time. "I regret that it was necessary, but if I had to do it again to save innocent lives, I would make the same choices." "Even knowing the cost?" "Especially knowing the cost," Chen replied. "That's what makes us human. We do what needs to be done, and then we live with the consequences." The shuttle reached orbit and prepared to jump to hyperspace. Through the window, Chen could see the Earth transport ship that had brought Captain Webb. It was already leaving, heading back to Sol system. Earth would have to find other ways to spread human influence through the galaxy. Chen had chosen a different path. As they jumped to hyperspace, heading toward the Council worlds, Chen thought about the future. The galaxy was different now. The species that had learned human ways of fighting would never forget them. Some would use that knowledge to become conquerors. Others would use it to protect the innocent. Her job now was to make sure they remembered the difference. The precursor prophecy had been right. One human had been enough to win the war. But the prophecy had not mentioned what would happen after the war was won. Chen settled back in her seat for the long journey to the Council worlds. She had spent months teaching the galaxy how to fight like humans. Now she would spend years teaching them how to be better than humans. It was going to be the hardest battle of her life. But then again, she thought with a tired smile, the hardest battles always were.